been exposed to the last couple of days. Any conflicts of interest declarations on any of the agenda items at this time? Not hearing any, we'll move along. Looking for a motion for discussion to approve the minutes on April 22nd, 2024.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Commissioner Oshie. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, welcome back. Great. Any questions, comments, or revisions on the minutes as written? Not hearing any. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Minutes carried. Public comment at this time. Moving along. Financial report. Financial director. Go ahead. You're on stage.
Okay. First slide is just to show the financial status as of April 30th. Basically, we're about 50% of the budget at this point. Sounds a little low, but there's a lot of consultant expenses in there that will tally into the next year. So I think that's what offsets that a little bit. And then the next slide is just how the member dues that you all pay have been paid or have been spent so far this year. We have a little bit more to collect, and then obviously with a couple more months of expenses to go out. So we should be pretty close to having them spent by the end of June. And then the next one, the budget. The budget went out with your packets, I believe, so everybody should have seen a copy of it. The slides just sort of give a brief explanation of that. This just shows all the funding sources with the amount of our budget being $22,949,860. This gives you a breakdown of how much of it's federal, state, funding, and other in-kind and local. And then the next slide will break down the expenses and show what they make up. This just mimics the handout that you were given and just breaks it down into those expense categories. And then the next one is the sources and uses of local funds. This tells you where we're getting the local funds from and then how we're spending them out. This also will just mimic the pages that were sent out to you. The last page is just the notes, just telling you that we get our grant support from ARC, DOD, EDA, EPA, FHWA, FTA, PADCD, PennDOT, and we're always just looking for other opportunities. This budget assumes no increase in the member local dues or the water resource dues. This includes 55 full-time staff positions, no anticipated changes to the current fringe benefit package, includes staff performance-based merit increases effective July of 2024. And then the last bullet just shows what our current indirect cost rate is, and which is 165.2609, which was approved as of January 1st, and the overhead rate of 63.7413 and a fringe rate of 62. This budget used those same assumptions. We do plan to do another indirect cost plan, but we're going to hope to stick with these same amounts. Okay, so the resolutions. The first one, we just need to have you do a resolution to approve this budget as it stands. Or if you have any questions or comments on it before you do that, let me know.
All right, so we're moving along to agenda item 5. Any questions or comments on that presentation?
I do have. So how does this compare? I'm just, without me digging here, how does it compare to last year?
It was a little bit lower than last year as far as, but a lot of that, like we put the full amount of the BBB contract in there. So whatever's been spent, that's going to go down.
Okay.
Yeah.
But our revenue stayed relatively
Pretty similar. Yes. I mean, we had an increase in PennDOT was like about 8%. So that would have been up for that. Most of Jen's money stays pretty flat. We don't get too many increases there.
Any other questions? So moving on to agenda item 5, we have a resolution before us for consideration, which was included in your welcome packet. Looking for a motion for discussion on Corporation Board Resolution 1-24. We're doing these separately, Dusty, correct?
Yes.
So looking for a motion on 1-24.
I move.
Second,
I'll second.
discussion. Quiet in here. All right. Not hearing any. All those in favor of resolution 1-24, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. And then we have another resolution, I believe, in here to adopt, looking for a motion for discussion, the executive committee resolution 2.24 on the adoption of the annual budget for 24-25.
It's basically the same.
Motion?
So did we clarify that we had the right people for the corporate motion? Right?
Yes.
We're okay. Okay. All the same. We're good. All right.
Yeah, we're good.
Streamline this in the
Yeah.
future.
It's just two separate.
I can't hear it. Dusty, we're fine with this, correct?
Yes,
Yeah,
we're going to
of course.
streamline it
Yes.
in the future. So just,
All right. Still looking for that motion for discussion, comments.
I'll move on that motion.
Thank you, Robin. I'll have a second.
I'll second.
All right, any discussions? Not hearing any. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 6, action on the Corporation Board Resolution 2.24 to solicit proposals to enter into a consultant contract to support the planning studies included in the 24-25 budget. Ms. Director.
Yes, this resolution just basically gives the president, CEO, the vice president, the secretary treasurer of the corporation the ability to sign and enter into contracts based off of this 24-25 budget.
So let's get a motion on this resolution, and then we can have a discussion. So looking for a motion for discussion. Right, Sarah?
Hello?
Motion. Motion by Vince, do I have a second?
A second.
Any discussion on this? Dusty, was there any change from how we did it a year ago till today?
no,
Forward?
no, I don't think so. Going forward, we'll address it a little differently, I think, but
Any other comments, questions? Not hearing any. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those? Motion carried. Good, item 7.
Okay, this one is to add our new chief operating officer to the corporation board as vice president. That position was vacant at the time, so we just this resolution will add her to the corporation office. And those would be Pat Fabian as chairman, Vince Vesuvius as vice chair, Rich Fitzgerald as president and CEO, Jennifer Liptak as vice president, and myself, Elisa Sobian, as secretary and treasurer for the corporation.
and the reason is because when the nominating committee met, there was a vacancy.
Yes, yes. Yeah, that position was not filled.
There was a vacancy in the vice.
Correct. So this is just to fill that position, yes.
Yeah, and let me just, add, for those of you who haven't met Jennifer Liptak, I'm sure many of you have. If you haven't, she just joined us as the Chief Operating Officer a couple of weeks ago. And this will basically give her the ability to enter into sign on behalf of the corporation. For those of you who don't know Jennifer, she was former county manager as well as the chief of staff to Allegheny County for 12 plus years. And a lot of the things you've seen around this region that she had her hands in a very, very positive way. So Jennifer, welcome, and we'll have Jennifer a little bit later, but just wanted to add her to the list.
Thank you. I just wanted Rich to say a little something about Jennifer, so she's in this resolution. So looking for a motion for discussion on resolution 3-24.
I'll make it.
Thank you. Mr. Kennedy, do I have a second for discussion?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion.
Chair, I don't know if this is the appropriate time to bring it up. So if it isn't, we can hold it and have it as a separate conversation. But I know we had a good orientation as new members, particularly the commissioners. I know some of this came up in our first meeting with regard to streamlining some confusion. I would very much appreciate understanding the budget process separately as its own workshop for us. I think that's probably one of our most important roles, is to know what we're voting on the fiduciary side. And I'd just like to have a better understanding of how all of this works collectively with our budget.
I think it'd probably be a really good idea, and we could have the budget director maybe schedule some time so that for the commissioners or any other members of the commission who want to be, more informed about the details and some, whether it be the revenues or expenditures of how that budget operates, I think makes a lot of sense. So
we know
we
what
can
we're
get that
voting on.
scheduled. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you have any questions before then, please just feel free to reach out.
No problem.
Yep.
But I think it is a good idea to have
idea.
a workshop where people can come in and have,
Particularly with everything we've talked about in our prior meeting, everything we're going to talk about forward, there's more money flowing than ever, right? So we're going to have more ins and outs and different positions hired for very good, relevant reasons. And
Yep,
I would
yep.
just like to have a better understanding.
Sure, totally. Yep.
we'll go ahead and get that scheduled.
Appreciate your comment, and I believe that's warranted, and I think you'll get that set up. So thank you, Robin. Any other comments on this item to be voted on? 3-24. Not hearing any. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Transportation report.
Thank you, Chairman. Next slide. So I want to talk a little bit about the TIP public process real quickly here, because we're going to get into the nitty-gritty details of all this at our full commission meeting. The public comment period on the draft TIP was May 8th through June 7th. We went on the road, 11 public meetings in that 30-day period in our counties and the city of Pittsburgh that were attended by over 300 people. We received 54 public comments during the comment period, and they have been responded to by staff. SPC staff coordinated with PennDOT, city, county, and transit agency staff to craft responses to the comments. And our Transportation Technical Committee and our Transit Operators Committee have both recommended adoption of the draft TIP by the commission. Next slide. So just a general breakdown of the comments that we received. As I said, 54 total, 15 on safety, 13 on active transportation, your pedestrian and bicycle stuff, 6 comments on transit, 6 comments on roadway conditions, 3 comments on Amtrak and passenger rail, 3 comments on bridge condition, 3 comments on efficiency and operations, and a couple other general comments, et cetera. 1 comment on environmental justice and justice board. Next slide. So the remaining schedule after hopefully commission adoption today, we will submit the final TIP documents sometime in July to our funders. And once it is approved by our state and federal funders, it will go into effect in October of this year. Next slide, please. I do want to talk a little bit about the Smart Transportation for Local Communities program, an SPC run competitive program here. Next slide. We opened the application period. I did mention this at the last meeting. I went through this a little bit, but I'll just as a refresher, I'll go over it quickly again. We opened the application period at our TTC meeting in February. Final applications were due in April. We did an application evaluation selection process in April and May, and the Transportation Technical Committee endorsed a list of selected applications at their May meeting. Just a little bit about the program before I move on. It was designed to encourage sponsors to plan and implement projects that link transportation improvements with appropriate land use development strategies. These projects should aim to support the creation of sustainable, livable, and equitable communities with the goals of the region's adopted long-range plan. Next slide. So we received 10 applications total request about 6.2 million. We had a total of 6 million available. That's 2 years worth of funding. We open up this program every 2 years. Overall, the applications were good quality and the program is getting more and more competitive. Next slide. So I went through this at the last meeting. I'll go through them very quickly again. These are the 10 applications that we received. We have a new segment of the Sheepskin Trail submitted by Fayette County. We have ADA and sidewalk improvements on State Route 356 in Butler County submitted by PennDOT. We have, again, ADA and sidewalk improvements on Leechburg Road in Westmoreland County. We have roadway reconstruction for State Route 68 submitted by District 11. We had ADA sidewalk and signal improvements on West Liberty Avenue in Allegheny County. We have a roadway safety and shoulder project in Lawrence County on Route 158. We have a study for a road diet, Grand Avenue on Neville Island in Allegheny County. We have a study of trail crossings for where Westmoreland Heritage Trail crosses the roads. They want to study what they can do at the trail crossings. That was submitted by District 12. And we have flashers at Sheepskin Trail crossings submitted by District 12 as well. And then last but not least, we have pedestrian transit and EV charging project in Butler Township at Pullman Center submitted by Butler County. So those are the 10 applications that were submitted. Again, those 10 totaled 6.2 million. We had 6 million available. Next slide.
Question on those, did you have more than those 10 projects or is that all? I understand.
No,
that's what
we
was
got
submitted.
10. That's it. We got 10.
The 10 submitted.
10 submitted, yeah. The projects were evaluated 3 weighted criteria areas: smart transportation, themes, ancillary factors, and deliverability. The smart themes include things like link with land use. Is the project supportive of community goals? Does it take a multimodal approach? Ancillary factors such as does it meet the goals of the region's long-range plan? Is there consistency with the region's active transportation plan? And does the project have safety and crash reduction elements in it? Also, environmental justice is also a factor there as well. Is it an environmental justice area? And the third criteria, deliverability, basically candidate projects that clearly demonstrate that the project is free of significant deliverability issues and can be delivered within the proposed budget and schedule. In other words, are there any things that could hold up a project like excessive right-of-way or extended utility involvements and so forth? We want to make sure that when we award a project that it is deliverable. Next slide. So with the 6 million of funds available in this program, we are recommending funding the top 9 projects for 5.1 million. We'll hold 850,000. It'll be held in reserve for contingency cost increases for these 9 projects that scored at the top of the 10, and for programming flexibility as well. So those are what you see there are the 9 projects that were endorsed by the Transportation Technical Committee that we presented this to. And these projects will become part of the TIP at the commission meeting. Next slide. With that, I'll take any questions, any other questions.
And let me also jump in and say, I really want to thank all of your groups The TIP meetings went extremely well. There was an awful lot of collaboration from your commission, your public works directors, your planning directors, PennDOT. It really, when we asked for the vote at the full commission meeting after this, it really was a collaborative effort and folks worked on it for over a year, about a year and a half, and really came together extremely well. So I want to thank all of you for that level of cooperation.
Hey, Dom, I got one question. Why was State Route 158 taken off that list?
It scored dead last, 10 out of 10. And that's basically the only reason they got cut off. It was a $1 million request, and we didn't have, we couldn't fully fund it.
Because I'm going to get asked that question. That's why I was.
Yeah. I think PennDOT is likely to move forward with it.
They told me in 2025, it got put in 2025, but you haven't told me why, but now I found out.
Yeah. I mean, it's just about utilizing the color of this money versus utilizing the other. I think PennDOT's likely to move forward with the project.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any questions for Dom? Additional questions? All right, moving along. Strategic Initiative Policy Report. DJ.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hi, everybody. We can go right into the first slide, please. First thing I want to do, and you'll hear more about this from Rich at the 4 o'clock, but just want to thank all of you that made the trip to Harrisburg with us. I know your schedules are very busy, and I appreciate you carving out that 2 days to come there. I say that especially because I've been talking to a lot of the staff from a lot of the offices that we visited, but also just in general to legislative staff, and everybody noticed we were there. So I think it's especially important that we continue to go up to Harrisburg, that we speak with one voice, and that we go at the same time. It's just the presence is overwhelming. Those of you that weren't able to make it, you missed a lot of really good discussions. You missed a little bit of fun, but it was a pretty work-filled day. You also probably got a little more rest than we all got running around the Capitol. But I think that you have a couple issues up there that I think were the primary ones that we discussed with elected officials and agency leaders when we were up there. And I think generally we had a really good trip. I'll leave it there for now, other than to say that the regional impact that we made, I think, would be especially important for us to make in Washington, D.C. Those of you that were in the last meeting, I mentioned this too, that September 18th and 19th, the Allegheny Conference is hosting their annual Washington, D.C. trip. I hope that all of you can make it to that as well. We'll send more details to you as they become available, but hold on your calendars for now. Next slide, please. I just want to share a few different selected grant opportunities with you. These are some of the more timely ones, but this is always getting updated. Please subscribe to our newsletters. You'll get all the grant updates that we have sent to you regularly. Charging and fueling infrastructure. This is the second round of CFI grants. They did a round last year, and there were not many applications from our region, and there was no funding given to our region for those applications. But the CFI program is open now. It's due at the end of August. This is for electric vehicle charging. If any of you are like me and own a vehicle that plugs in one form or another, you know that we need more charging stations. This is also really good to attract people to an area where they may not go otherwise. There's a good bit of money out there for it, and you can partner with local utilities to drive down your costs in terms of applying for and planning for the grant. Encourage you to talk to us if you're interested in that. The SMART grant through DOT is due on July 12th. We're aware of one possible application from the region at this point. So if you're applying, please let us know so that we can make sure to also lend support to your application. We also have the Active Transportation Infrastructure Investment Program, ATIP, which is due July 12th as well. That's an extended deadline. We're also aware of one regional application from that. So we're not seeing, there's not going to be any competitive application that we're aware of. We're expecting also a notice of funding opportunity for the Reconnecting Communities grant. This is one that you may have heard of. The city has received some planning money for reconnecting communities in the past. But in general, please connect with myself or Lily Gabreski, who's sitting in the back here. if you're interested in applying for any federal funding, and we can support you. And even if you don't know what you want to apply for, please just contact us and tell us what your project priorities are. Some of our counties have been doing a great job of that. Please continue to do it. I think between my department and Jen's department, we can find at least something we can try to apply for you. So just keep the projects coming, even if you don't know where the money's coming from. Next slide, please. And on the climate pollution reduction grant, we're still waiting for word from the EPA. We hope to hear in July. We're being told that we would hear about our $199 million application in July. We don't know if that is July 1st or July 30th or August 15th. We have no idea. But we'll keep you posted. If we get it, you will most certainly hear from me immediately. We're continuing to have discussions with federal officials. My ask to all of the commissioners present is when you're talking with a federal official, with members of Congress, please mention the climate pollution reduction grant in your discussions. The state has a $500 million application that could go all over the state for industrial decarbonization. We are going to have $199 million here for this region, guaranteed to get here, and then we can still take some of the state's $500 million. It's a huge investment, so please continue to talk about it with your federal officials. If you need talking points, if you have a meeting coming up and we can help to brief you before you go in, we're happy to do that as well. But the bigger thing that we know is going to happen regardless is the continuation of our $1 million EPA planning grant for the planning side of this. The CCAP is the Comprehensive Climate Action Plan. That process is going to continue no matter what happens with implementation. We have a comprehensive climate action plan that's due this time next year, actually more than this time next year. But the advisory committee meetings are going to be starting soon. So each of your counties has a representative on our steering committee. That's a pretty small group that's going to be the decision-making body for a lot of our efforts. But the advisory committee is going to be a much larger group. We're talking about 100 or more folks on that, made up of advocates from the environmental community, but also organized labor and industry and many county organizations and just community-based organizations that don't really work in climate but work in community development. The idea is that we want to bring as many diverse voices to the table as we're developing that plan. The public meetings for that are going to be starting late summer, early fall. We're going to start to schedule those soon. And I'll emphasize here that we're not necessarily looking to hold these meetings in county courthouses or in county seats at all. We want to go into the counties that are the largest, the most impacted by climate pollution and by a reduction in climate pollution. Next slide, please. And next, I'll just touch on broadband. The BEAD challenge process concluded last month. All of our counties participated in that process. The thing I'll emphasize on this slide is that yes, we were able to have additional residences that were marked as unserved or underserved for broadband purposes. But the biggest thing that I think we accomplished with this most recent effort is the community anchor institutions. These are places like schools and hospitals and libraries, et cetera, that are required to have higher levels of base internet speed than a regular residence would be. The team that we hired to work with us on this reviewed over 4,000 community anchor institutions and presented challenges to 873 of them. So you're talking about over 20%, if my math is correct, of the institutions that they looked at. So there were some errors there that needed corrected. Those challenges have been submitted. We're confident we're going to see a pretty high success rate with those challenges. But that investment that we made in going through this process is going to yield much higher internet speeds for the most important facilities in your counties. I also want to just add here that I want to continue discussions with interested parties about potentially holding about additional work. One of the things we're talking about is a scaled back, smaller version of the Broadband Summit that many of you have been a part of in the past. The idea there being to focus on bringing the counties and the ISPs together to develop concrete plans to cover, I think the phrase I used, every square inch of our region for broadband. So I want to continue to have those conversations with all of you and see what the best action is going forward. And next slide, please. That's it for me. So if anybody has questions, I'm happy to take them. Otherwise, done.
Questions for DJ? I don't have a question, just a comment. I just want to echo what DJ said. I thought our trip to Harrisburg, many of you commissioners are in the room today, was in attendance, and we need to start lining up our next trip. maybe later this fall. But I thought it was productive. I thought Chuck and his team did an excellent job of getting us to meet a lot of people in a short amount of time and talking about a variety of topics beyond transportation. And so it was very productive and looking forward, but also want us to be thinking about our next trip this fall. We got to keep our pedal on our foot on the gas here with these legislators. So, any other commissioners' comments about the trip? Sarah, anything?
I echo yours, of course, but one of the things that helps us do that I'm sure people think about, but it might be being missed, is it helps us talk our talk among committees at CCAP, right? So we have 10 committees at work at our County Commissioners Association. We do platforms. So whether it's economic development, whether it's, criminal justice system or emergency services, we're at work there too in how to talk it, how to make sure we're supporting and aligning to government, whether it's the governor's plan or the agencies and what they're doing with it. But it's very helpful in tying that all together too with what we're doing. So I too applaud you, compliment all of those who made it happen the way it did. It was very organized. It was very convenient and well done.
Thank you, and I'm sure some of our team members down here worked on dates, maybe itinerary for this fall.
Can't wait. Yep.
All right, moving along. Where are we at here? Workforce and Economic Development Report, Jennifer.
Good afternoon, everybody. Next slide. Okay, so again, continuing to serve our counties, communities, and small businesses here in southwestern Pennsylvania. Just a couple things I wanted to highlight is with our export group, you can see pictures kind of off to the right. But basically, one of our great small businesses, Bond Tool, Inc., was awarded the 2024 Mid-Atlantic Region Exporter of the Year Award, and it kind of showcased Bond Tool, their company, their successes in exporting, et cetera. You can see in those pictures a multitude of acronyms like SPC, SBA, SBDC. You can see our team members, Rich, Rena, and Jackie. I'm the one taking the picture. But basically, this is a business we've been working with for many, many years. The young man who runs the business, his father passed away. He took over that business, and we've been working with that business for multiple generations. And so just wanted to really showcase what a great job. Rich also spoke at this event. We had under our government contract technical assistance program, 12 companies with 50 awards representing $1.2 million, in addition to hosting an FAA webinar talking about contracting with the FAA. And so continuing on, 24 companies were assisted under our commercial lending program, and under our Keystone Opportunity Zone, we had 3 inquiries and 27 applications received. Next slide. And wanted to spotlight ARC EDA Grant Technical Assistance Program that we have. ARC Area Development is open. So pre-applications are due August 2nd to Faith Collins, who's in the room with us. But right now she's working with 13 applications from this prior year, requesting $6.8 million. But for 24-25, SPC's website is going to be updated with online versions of all of the documents. Again, if you have a project in mind in which you would like to discuss assistance with for ARC, she is the person who is required to receive the pre-applications, vet them, get them off to DCED. Talk to her about any projects that you have. They're going to have some type of an economic development component to it. So whether it's jobs or increased economic capacity, whatever it is, but please feel free to talk to her, vet that through her. We also have ARC Arise still open. That's a rolling deadline. That's multiple states. That doesn't have to be connecting states. That could be more than one state in the ARC area. So we have one award for $375,000 that was in our region. EDA is looking for projects. If you have any projects in mind for EDA, let's talk as well. Just recently had a meeting with Chris Casper and his team saying, what do you have available? What are you looking for? EDA is not the easiest grant-wise, but they are looking for projects. And so if you have anything, again, talk to myself, talk to Faith. DJ's team also does grants. I want you to know that there is a no wrong door kind of policy here. We'll get you to the right place. But Faith and myself are funded specifically for technical assistance under these 2 grants. And then community capacity, she's knocking it out the park. She had 47 meetings with over 144 participants. So I cannot thank that program and Faith enough. Next slide. So speaking of working with communities, regional IWG rapid response meetings. So these have been ongoing. Again, I think you all remember this from our prior conversations, but the IWG basically is a Biden administration established interagency working group on coal and power plant communities and economic revitalization. Its goal is to facilitate economic revitalization in coal, oil, and gas and power plant communities to support workers. First activities were last year in August of 2023. And basically, we, your planning directors and the commissioners talked with these folks about what their needs were. They sought really any information to kind of understand Southwestern Pennsylvania. This culminated in the October 20th, 2023 event at Westmoreland County Community College, in which had everybody from the governor to ARC was there, Senator Casey was there. It was just a large event in which we learned all about the region. And they came back to us late March 2024 and requested meetings with Armstrong, Beaver, Fayette, Greene, Indiana, and Washington. So we've been doing some light planning with this. And then in June 2024, 3 in-person meetings were just recently held and 3 virtual. Next slide. So I wanted to just show up and spotlight a couple pictures. In each event was very, very helpful. I cannot thank Fayette County's Mark Rayfeld, Indiana County's Byron Stoffer, and Washington County's Jason Theakston. They each held in-person meetings. And so this ranged from anywhere between 15 to 80 people. Indiana County was huge, and I cannot thank you enough. It was an amazing event to see. But basically, the whole point of this was to tell the interagency working group, learn a little bit about what they're doing, what their process was, but to hear what your needs are. But more importantly, financially, what are your needs? What are the projects you have in mind, et cetera? And so your planning directors, your county commissioners, your facilities folks, thank you again. The amount of thank you that I have received on behalf of the IWG for being welcomed into Southwestern Pennsylvania, they've learned a lot. And so, for example, each meeting couldn't be more different. Fayette County, something really interesting came up. We had a gentleman who had applied for brownfields 5 times and has not received it. And so he's like, I don't know what to do. I've hired a grant writer that has been successful with you, didn't make it. I've applied ourselves. What are we doing wrong? Our EPA individual picked up the phone, called their DC office and said, we need to look into see what's going on here. Somebody mentioned about the BEAD funding during that meeting, and Mark Rayfield received an email from the individual at the state asking for a meeting during that. This is that face-to-face time. I don't know for how long we're going to have these opportunities. So whether it's virtually face-to-face, in-person, face-to-face, have these conversations, tell these folks about what your needs are. SPC really is there as a local development district and as a liaison kind of, again, I'm stealing Tom Clevan's statement, but we build the table where conversations happen. Our job is to bring everybody together and let you talk about what your needs are and hopefully receive funding as a result. And so next up, I have a virtual meeting with Armstrong and these folks tomorrow. We have Beaver County on Wednesday and Greene County on Thursday. Again, I cannot state this enough to the rest of the folks that are going to be at least virtual. Tell them what your needs are. And I see them coming more and more to Southwestern Pennsylvania. We are significantly coal and energy impacted. No clue how the election is going to fare, and as such, don't know what's going to happen with this funding. Let's have these conversations and try to get as many resources. Next steps after this, fall 2024, they're going to be doing an event in Southwestern Pennsylvania. Nothing's been set up, not date, not time, not agenda, but they're going to be coming back for a large-scale event like they did last year in Westmoreland County. So any questions that you have for me on this, but more importantly, just to thank you to everybody who participated.
Questions for Jen? All right, not hearing any, moving along. Communications report, Caitlin.
Thanks, Commissioner. So as you guys probably know, we have started the Commissioner video series where we're featuring all of you. So if you haven't heard from us yet, you will, and we hope that you'll take the opportunity and get in front of our camera. We set up kind of a grassroots film studio. Jeremy is our videographer in the back. He's one wearing the hat. We go downstairs, we take 15, 20 minutes of your time, and we edit a couple videos together about you, the work that you're doing in your community, and some of the collaborative work that we've done with and on behalf of you. So we just just really want to use these as a spotlight that we're a resource and we're helping you guys. So we're going to show two videos, Commissioner Basidi and Commissioner McClure's video that we have completed. These go up on our YouTube page. We put them on our social media channels, and they go in our newsletters. So we're trying to use our channels to get the message about you guys. So let's do Commissioner Basidi's first, since we have that one up. Give us a second. It takes a little bit of wiggle room with WebEx.
Here, I served in that position for 2 years. Now I'm vice chair of SPC. Just getting really involved in the region, understanding every aspect of the position, taking a leadership role with the leadership team. Chairman Pat Fabian, Betsy McCure is the secretary treasurer now. I really look forward to working as a team to enhance the region, both with our transportation and economic development decisions. We can work together to help the region. And then I go to SPC to try to get help on that. They've been very cooperative when I've tried to get funds for projects such as our Sheepskin Trail, the Masontown Bridge. There's a traffic signal we're trying to get right now outside of Connellsville area. They're trying to help us on. They have a staff of 50 people that are willing and able to help you, and you need to make sure as a county commissioner you take full advantage of that. I'm just honored to be in the leadership of SPC. I'm going to try to be the best vice chair I can be. We have to be the voice of the people as county commissioners. And if the region does well through the collaboration of each county, then each county's going to do well.
Insulin pump, sorry.
My name is Vince Vasili.
And I'm very excited about becoming Secretary Treasurer. SPC, I feel, has been very helpful in Greene County. We are getting ready to launch the Waynesburg Betterment Project, which is a $14 million deployment right in the middle of Greene County and Waynesburg. Our stoplights will be improved, our sidewalks. A lot of the traffic on the roads has destroyed the roadway, and this Betterment Project will help reclaim that and fix that. So it's going to do a lot for our appearance and how we look. Another project that you are helping with is Route 21, which is a state highway. It is one of the most dangerous highways in Greene County. It's dark, it's windy. So for safety reasons, we've embarked on a feasibility study on how to make improvements, and SPC is helping with that. What I do tell township supervisors, we encourage them to come to SPC meetings. They want to know their projects. They want to know how they can help. And that's one role I feel that I will have being on the executive board, is to educate not only my community, but our 10-county region about the things that SPC can offer.
Commissioner Vasidi. Slide. So we also just recently filmed Commissioner Gorman, and we did Commissioner Curtis earlier today. So we'll have those videos down the pike for you guys. But thank you. We really appreciate it. And just so everyone knows, again, the interviews are short, 10 to 20 minutes. That's one of the videos, but we're getting 2 or 3 out of them. So some of the other videos will focus specifically on you, the work that you're doing, and some of the other activities in the counties. So really quick, I'm going to do a quick plug for us. So if you guys can make sure that your counties and yourselves are following us on social media, we're on Insta, Twitter, or X, I should say, Facebook, LinkedIn, follow us on YouTube. We have a monthly newsletter that we send out. These videos are part of that. As DJ mentioned, some of the grant notices that we have, Lily and I work together and her team, and we put those in there. So we have a lot of information in our newsletter. And then I'll let Rich talk about this later, but he is now co-hosting a radio show on KDK from 7 to 8. Some of you have been on there before the workday starts, so if any of you were up and early and listening, but we've had some of our commissioners on there to feature some of the events that you have, whether it's, this summer with the upcoming county fairs, to the motocross. Commissioner McClure was on there recently talking about it, so just keep in tune. Rich will be reaching out to you for some of that, but really just want to showcase and highlight some of the great work that's going on in the region.
Thank you, Caitlin.
Oh, can I add one more thing? I'm sorry, Commissioner. Recently, we were in Armstrong County for the Township Supervisors Association. So if you guys have any events that you want us to be at, please let us know. Rhonda's our public involvement coordinator. She handles our public meetings with the TIF and such. If you think that you have a meeting with your supervisors or mayors or anyone that would be useful, that it would make sense for us to come, whether it's our team or someone on transportation, you want to speak about a specific issue, please reach out, let us know, and we'll make sure to have someone there. So just want to put that on a plug.
Anything else?
That's all, I'm sorry.
I do want to echo something. Sometimes I feel like I'm the only one that likes and shares SBC stuff. So, if you're not connected with any of that, those media, social media, pieces, please make it a point to do so and share it. The director up on Community Chronicle.
Yeah, just following up on what Caitlin says, we want to promote the great things that are happening in all of your counties. Earlier this year, I was on KDKA with Commissioner Fabian, and he did such a good job. After he was off, the program manager came to me, the director said, would you like to do this every week? And you can bring on somebody from a different county. So thank you for starring that first one. And then we've had, as you mentioned, Commissioner McClure was on, Commissioner Mercedes was on talking about Ohio Power being voted the top city in America for some of the things that they do. Last week, we had Commissioner Sherman on from Washington County talking about the Rib Fest and the music venue they have coming up. Commissioner Oshie's going to be on this week talking about the Big Butler Fair. So let us know some of the things that are going on, and we do get that segment to promote around the region some of the things that we're doing. And again, as Caitlin and Jeremy and Joey and Rhonda have been doing, trying to chronicle again some of the great things that each county has going on, whether it be the cast iron bridge in Fayette County, the oldest bridge, the oldest cast iron bridge in the country. Among other things that are happening, the motocross that Commissioner McClure talked about, 20,000 people showing up in a small town in Mount Morris, PA, down near the border. It was an incredible event that we can even expand with the national championship that was there. We could get the international championship hopefully in a year or two if we can continue to add some things, some broadband expansion, et cetera. So keep us in mind. Get it to Caitlin what you're doing, whether it's cutting a ribbon for some of the trails that we did, whether it be in Armstrong County or with County Executive a couple of weeks ago in Allegheny County when DCNR came. Secretary Dunn came here, opening that last switchback in down by Point State Park. So much going on. You can see, we'll mention this at the full commission meeting, but our presence in Harrisburg back in early May was well known, and we had meetings with the leaders from the governor's office and secretaries, also with leaders Ward and Pittman, Costa, Fontana, et cetera, in the House, Secretary Speaker McClendon, Lieutenant Governor Davis, and again, I think the presence of having so many of us there made an impact, and I know the mayor and the county executive being here, they've been in Harrisburg many times, and they know the impact that you have by being there in person. And I want to thank BI for the great work getting us around and taking us showing us which doors to go in and not getting lost in the corridors of the Capitol, which is very easy to do. The team did a great, Carrie and Aaron and Chuck and the whole team really did a great job. And we want to make sure that trip we take in to Washington, that we get as many of you as we can. It's really, it's a 2-day trip. It's really late one day and then early the next day. For those of you that haven't done it before, they have a big reception where the entire delegation from the House and the Senate will be there. They come every year. And then the next morning, we'll be going up on the Hill to lobby our individual congressional members with the priorities that we have. And certainly this year, with so much money that is available through the IRA, the IHAA, et cetera, all the programs that are out there, it's important. What you're seeing on the screen right now is a breakfast we hosted the next morning. And these are just some of the representatives and senators that were present. We were able to give a lot of our input as to what we have. And I'll say one of the most effective things we talked about was broadband. The broadband initiative, about 15% of the funding had gone out, and many of our counties did not do very well. And we were able to get very, very impactful and important meetings with people like Representative Matsey from Beaver County, who's a member of the commission, of the authority, and others. So I think that was very helpful, so that when the next group of funding comes out, the 85% that's going to be coming out in the next few months, that I think we made an impression on us getting our fair share throughout the state. So again, I just think it's important for us to continue to get the good word out that we're doing and the things that we need. We talked about site selection. We'll talk about that a little bit in the next meeting. But these are just some of the things that we're working on. And please, we're here to be your resource and use us for a way in which we can help advance the initiatives in your counties. Any questions? Anytime.
All right, well, thank you, Rich. Agenda item 13, looking for a motion for discussion on, and Dusty, do we have to do these separate or pre-bundle these? It's meeting schedules.
You can do them all at once.
All right, so looking for a motion on Corporation Board Resolutions 4-24 and Executive Committee Resolution 3-24, meeting schedule for 24-25.
Motion.
Vince, Betsy, thank you. Sure if there's anything to discuss here, just the calendar schedule for the next fiscal year.
And you all have copies of it. We have it here and we emailed it out too. So if anyone didn't get it, just please let me know.
Any comments, questions? Not hearing any. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. You have a message for us?
Well, I gave some of it, but let me just add to it. We mentioned the September meeting in Washington, D.C. We also plan on taking a trip in October. I don't know the exact date. Do you guys remember when the Pennsylvania Manufacturers Association has their, we'll get that out. It's in mid-October. It's a huge meeting. We plan on going. I believe it's on a Monday, if I remember right. We'll get that to you beforehand. But it's so important that we do get in front of our elected officials, senators, and state representatives, as well as the administration folks. It really does have an impact on what we're doing. At the next meeting, we're going to be taking a vote on the TIP. And the TIP is a very, very important thing that we do every 2 years for the 4-year plan. And most of that money is formulaic. We're kind of guaranteed in getting it. And then you all decide in your counties which programs you want to put forward, which you want to get done. But a lot of the money that we're going to be going after over the next couple of years is discretionary, meaning it's competitive. And we're going to have to compete with other places around the state and around the country. And the more we can be together and have good plans put forward, the more effective we will be when we go to our House delegation, our Senate delegation, both in Washington and in Harrisburg. So continue the level of cooperation, bringing on Jennifer Liptak. She knows an awful lot of these folks for the experience she has, both in the private sector, our corporate community from the Allegheny Conference, our foundation people. We had a great foundation meeting just a few weeks ago, and she's been very helpful in doing a lot of those things. in her work in Allegheny County. So please reach out to us. We're always available. We're here to serve you, but use us. Utilize our expertise, people like Dawn, people like Jen, et cetera, the whole group, Caitlin with communication and her team. So we're here to be here. So that's my message.
Thank you, Rich. Just a reminder, our next meeting is going to be on Monday, August 26th. And before we adjourn, I just wanted to kind of open it up to any of my colleagues, co-commissioners, anything you want to bring up. Mayor, how you doing down there?
Good, I'm good. I just want to agree. I think going to Harrisburg, y'all did a power move. I just think y'all got to keep going, keep going, keep going. I think the more you see, the more visible you are, the more priority you'll be. It will be interesting to see, Rich, where that money went, where the first round of that money went.
Well, we know 4 of our counties didn't get it, and they were very, very vocal in there. Although I'm looking at Commissioner Gorman, they did pretty well there in Indiana County.
I think that changed it. I think
We want to learn from your success, Commissioner, how you did it, so the rest of us can learn and be.
I think Sarah knew where I was going with it. If it was going to the north and the southeast, it would be a great opportunity to have definitely a beautiful discussion.
Well, it's interesting in the city and in the county of Allegheny, many people take broadband for granted. Like it's just, you can get on your phone and you can make your call, you can give your text. And I learned firsthand with going to Greene County last week with Commissioner McClure as I was wandering around lost at the motocross, and we couldn't talk to each other because it didn't work. The phones didn't work, and it was so yeah, we need to improve that broadband. So yeah, that's it. One item among many that we need to work on.
Any other comments? Appreciate it. All right, well, motion to adjourn. Second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. See you in 1 minute.